Salutations, everyone. This is Razor here giving you guys some food for thought. Some food cookies in particular, because you guys know that book, if you give a mouse a cookie, it's going to want a glass of milk, and it just escalates from there, because, mice are assholes like that. Well, mice are a lot like noobs. And if you give a noob a tube, he's going to use it. If you give a noob a target finder, he's gonna use it. If you give a noob a fully auto mod, an aimbot, a spawn camping tool, something that's overpowered, game breaking, unfair, he's gonna use it. And this is a prime example of that. Now, we've all had our complaints about, first person shooters, whether we think that some guns are too strong or that some guns are too cheap, or some tactics are really, you know, unfavorable to play against. And then there are other things, the game breaking things, the things that stop the game from being playable. And there are a couple of things that fall. Of course, everyone likes to say that, well, that the problem isn't with the creators of the game or the development of it. It's the people that play it. And that's true. Nothing can be, done about these types of players. You can't tell people how, you can't force people to play the game a certain way. And people always like to say, let people play how they want to play and that everything's in the game for a reason. But it breaks the game. One Man Army, Noob Tubes, was game breaking. It made that game not playable because you just couldn't play the game. You could pick up the controller, but there was nothing you can do. You just instantly blow up. Modding and hacking in COD 4 World at War, if you've played any of those games in the past few years, game breaking. These script kiddies are getting unlimited ammo, they can't die, they can fly around, shoot through walls, all this kind of stuff. Whatever it may be, it breaks the game. And here in Battlefield 3, I'm getting spawn killed like nobody's business. Some people will like to point out that there's countermeasures to these things, like if you get into the enemy spawn like I'm demonstrating right here, that it'll kill you after a few seconds of warning. But this wasn't happening to the enemy team. I don't know what circumstances led this, but they weren't hacking, they weren't cheating. This was just something that they were able to do. This is just something that the game allows people to be able to do. They give them the ability to watch people as they spawn, get behind people when they spawn, behind people with your backs to them as soon as you're reborn. And I'm not talking about a domination gameplay where you're getting spawn trapped and they're waiting for you, have their scopes pointed down the hallway that they know you're going to have to leave. These are watching you spawn. Now, if you don't know, in Battlefield 3, you can either spawn on people in your squad, which, has some, risk to it. I mean, sometimes it could be beneficial. You'll help them get a kill. Other times, you'll just get killed right next to them. So, that's a risk that you have to take. But if you don't want to take that risk, if they're all dead, or if you just don't want to spawn on them, you have to spawn at the main base spawn, the attacker or defender spawn point. There are no other choices. Those are the only choices you are given in this game. So you have to attack at the attack. You have to spawn at the attacker deployment, or if you're defending at the defender deployment. And every time I do, I get immediately spawn killed. Tanks are overpowered in this game. All vehicles are overpowered in this game. I've said it before. They're just completely unbalanced. They're way too strong. There's no proper countermeasures to it. I know people like to say, "Oh, well, you can destroy tanks with rockets, or you can shoot shit down." But if you look at any of the server, most of the servers in the game, they'll say like, oh, no shotguns, or no spawn camping, or no stealing vehicles. A lot of them say no anti-air missiles, no SOFLOM, which is, targeting things to be destroyed. A lot of the measures used against vehicles, whether it be rockets or C4 or a different rocket or, whatever it may be, mines, are highly discretioned against using by these server administrators because what they want to happen to their opponents is what is happening to me right now. And even if they weren't against the rules, look how much success I am having against this tank. Me, just one man, it can't be done. It needs to be a team effort. It takes like 1,000 rockets to destroy them. All the helicopters and jets had like 12,000 flares each. Completely ineffective. And I don't mean to, and even if I wanted to, there's still no vehicles for my team to destroy their vehicles. So it's not something that is going to end well because of the way that it's set up. And trust me, I really don't mean to bash on Battlefield in particular, but it's a very common, very easy example for me to show you guys. And this is what they want to happen. This is what the typical Battlefield player's goal is. The typical COD player has their own goals with noob tubes, target finders, head glitching, spawn camping, whatever it may be. And I know there's always that option to leave the game, but that shouldn't be something I have to resort to. And guys know I'm not a fan of rage quitting. I'm not a fan of leaving the game. I hate it when it happens to me. And I always feel like I'm in a position where I can at least salvage something out of the game, but that was just not the case here. Overrun by people behind me, people to my left, people to my right, a tank barreling down in front of me that keeps zigzagging all over the place. There's nothing you can do. You can't look at this footage and tell me there was something that I could have done to change the situation. I mean, look at this chaos. I spawn right in front of this fucking tank. I know he's like, we'll just destroy the damn thing. I mean, eventually I do, but it takes like 20 fucking minutes and 7,000 rockets because of how imbalanced this game is being made. Now, I know it's always the user's fault because they chose to do that one thing, whatever it may be. But if you make those things a possibility within the game engine, within the code, within the structured rules of the game, then they're going to do it. There's no honor system in online anything. So if you give, the noob the tube, if you give them tools to do what they want, it will be done. You can't tell them not to unless you make it not a possibility in the game itself. Otherwise, this is what's going to happen. Whatever, game-breaking problem, fill in the blank. Yes, people are choosing to do it, but they're also being allowed to do it by the game, by the developers, and they come up with all these updates and patches. They test the game before it comes out, and it goes back to the matter that I keep harking to, that the people who make the games don't play their own games, because if they did, they would have the same frustration as us. They would be able to see the mistakes, they would be able to get that community feedback and change things for the better. Instead, what do? They give us these frivolous updates, doing all these things that don't really matter. They try to please us with, this thing's shiny and that thing's new, and they come up with, buffs to guns that don't need to be buffed. They nerf guns that need to be nerfed, but they don't actually nerf it. They just say that they do, and it really makes no difference whatsoever. And they sit back and they look at the results of their changes, and nothing changed, and they seem to be content with it because the public feels like changes are being made. When in reality, that's not the case. I mean, if they're going to go and change something within the game, why not do it right? Why not do it right? There's no excuse for these mistakes in these huge games with these huge fan bases. I know it makes a lot of money, so they're not really going to care as long as they get that dough. But the fact that you see them make an effort to change things, why not make them for the better? I mean, you would think if they played these games and they saw these mistakes, which they have to be aware of if they play them, you would think that they would do something about it. Look at this spawn. Look at this spawn. I spawned on this motherfucker's shoulder blade. I spawned on a shoulder blade. That's not something that should be available either to him or to me. That is absolutely ridiculous. And why is it? Because it's in the game. If you give a noob a cookie, they're gonna eat it. If you give a noob a tube, they will use it. If you give them these tools, if they are readily available to them, they are going to be used and exploited to the fullest extent possible. And there's nothing that, no matter how good you are, I'm a very, very good first-person shooter. I'm good. I'm just very good. That's what it is. I got good at one, and it translated to another. You get to learn things and pick stuff up. I'm good at Call of Duty. I'm good at Battlefield. I'm good at Halo. And there's a lot of players like that out there. Some aren't so great. Some just want to have fun. That's perfectly fine or whatever. But there are instances like these that doesn't matter how good you are. You can be the greatest in the world, which I'm far from. I'm far from the greatest at anything, at any video game. But it doesn't matter how good you are. There are certain things in certain games that it does not matter. There's nothing that you can do because the game is broken. There's nothing you can do to stop these, fill in the blank, whatever it is that really breaks the game for you, whether it be head glitching, target finder, one-man army, danger close, noob tube, spawn beacon, tactical insert, tanks, quick scoping, whatever you don't like, whether I agree with you or not, it's in the game because it was put in the game. Everyone in this lobby didn't hack into the game and change the way that it should be played. They were fully within their rights within this game to play the game this way. They weren't breaking any rules, they weren't hacking whatever, and the fact that this game breaking thing did happen to me is inexcusable. I mean, just look what happened to me. This wasn't coordinated. These guys weren't on an Xbox Live party chatting it up. You can only do so much against that. Sometimes luck is on your side and you get a better spawn, or someone moves from their camping position to something less advantageous to them. Some of the times that's the best thing that you can hope for in some of these games. But if you give a noob a tube, they will head glitch, they will spawn camp, they will spawn kill, they will use their spawn beacons to spawn on the tallest tower in the universe and snipe the shit out of you, and there's no way that you can combat against these things on a regularly successful basis because the game allowed the enemy player to exploit something in a way that it wasn't intended to be used, and they are able to have the fucking time of their lives while you are struggling until the game ends. This was a massively rare, expertly coordinated strategy that this enemy team pulled off. It's just a bunch of randoms that just all wanted to do the same thing, and this was the result. They succeeded in their, and this was the noob's holy grail. This is what they want to happen. They were successful. They were having the time of their lives, and the fact that this is what everyone is trying to do is what ruins these games. I'm not talking about that this gun's a little too strong, or this perk, or this score streak, or this equipment, or whatever. I'm talking about game-breaking shit like this, where you can't play. No matter what you do with your controller, you can't play. And as a gamer, that's all you can really ask for is let me play the game that I bought. Let me play the game that I paid to play. But instead, people take it upon themselves to, within the rules of the game, sometimes not so much with hacking and that shit, but they'll take it upon themselves to ruin everyone else's experience just so they can get their little shits and giggles, which is sad. It's so sad that this is the only way that they can feel good about themselves. This is sad that this is the only way that they feel that they can play the game. They can't play it competitively or legitimately or the way it was intended. I know a lot of these mistakes that you see in games were like, well, the devs didn't want it to be this way, then don't let it be an option. Don't let this be something that people can do, because once again, if you give the noob the tube, they will use it. We can't change the way people play the game. We can't. We learned this at every single game, every COD. Someone finds a way to break it with, glitches and hacks and cheats and stuff like that. We can't change the way people want to play the game. What we can change, what is not allowed. We can change. The game developers can say what can and cannot be done instead of just, giving people suggestions on how they should play the game. Because this is what happens. If you let people do what they want, they will. If you give people the tools to break the game for others, that's what they're going to do because people are assholes. So I know a lot of people, and I know the people are the blame, but if you give the noob a tube, they will use it. You can't tell them not to when it's sitting right there next to a glass of milk. Hope you guys enjoy the commentary. Comments, once again, always appreciated, and I will see you guys next time.